Machine Politically Incorrect. Let's talk. Number one, Floyd. I want you to listen to Floyd with an understanding that immediately afterwards we are going to talk about what do you think about it. Pay special attention to the differences that he does here with, I know it's early days, but let's just listen. Thank you.
We are here in the press conference of Mkondo, which is a party, to announce the structures of Mkondo, which is a party. That is the primary purpose, a party which we voluntarily have joined and for correct reasons. When we were speaking in the other platform, we made a plea for avoiding of mischaracterization of an otherwise correct and revolutionary decision and act to join Mkondo as a party. What President Zuma is doing with Mkondo as a party is what the statement of Mkondo Wesizwe did in 1961 on the 16th of December, to say that now that the liberation movement has been banned, what other platform do we express ourselves? What other instrument do we use to fight for total liberation? There is absolutely no doubt that the liberation movement is no longer existing in the form that it's supposed to do. It has been captured totally. It is directed from elsewhere. And then this is a platform. And what is unique about Mkondo is a party, and it's a purposeful, foundational approach and principle, is to assemble people who can govern society to come and govern society in South Africa. It's not wishful thinking to say that we've got these ideas of what we're going to do. Is to assemble the best of the best. So if you were to check even with the people that have been identified now, the first consignment that is going to the National Assembly, if you go to check their track record objectively and not bled by these nonsense of right-wing media platforms, you will accept that the contributions that Brian Molefe did in the public investment corporations, in the Transnet, in ESCOM, you will appreciate the contributions that Esiyabonga Gama did and contributed in Transnet, stable organizations. Whatever can be said, even with the former SARS commissioner, there have been a lot of things which were misled about for a very long time, that everyone else who is not a puppet of the establishment is enemy of the people. That is not the case. And people will think that I'm saying this because I'm on this platform now only. You can check the public statements and writings and articles and even interviews that we did when we came to the realization that for a very long time we're misled in terms of our characterization of society. They said there's capture because they were no longer in control of key state institutions. The white capitalist establishment was no longer in control, and then they said there's a crisis. If there was truly a crisis, why is that crisis not there now? Like, can they show us the crisis which they said existed before? So to assemble the best of the best amongst black people to govern society is a best decision. And to associate with that is a best and sound decision. People who can govern, like it's as simple as that. Like, if you say that who amongst ourselves is the best, and then you say, let's assemble those who can demonstrate that they have got capacity to run otherwise very complex and huge institutions, who are not going to collaborate with the establishment and switch on electricity on and off and say it's load shedding because there's a crisis of this and that. People who are genuine and real and have never done anything wrong, and of course will be criminalized for one reason or another. I agree that we should unite all the progressive forces into common agenda, because this thing of small, unviable political parties is not sustainable for the future of black people in South Africa. It's not sustainable at all. We can't, and the temptation as well, and I'm not characterizing the EFF, is that when you have got multiple of these, like they end up being fiefdoms of individuals. IFP, UDM kind of arrangement, what is it to achieve with that? When all of us can set aside our very strong egos and say, I don't have to be a member of parliament, I don't have to be a deputy president. I can come and be led by a collective, like, and be subjected to a collective and be asked to go and organize branches of MKP from scratch and not be a member at a high level. That is the principle that we're dealing with. And that is what we're here for, in terms of, and so that there's not even confusion. By the way, we spoke about the unification of all progressive parties with President Zuma last year, October, before the official announcement of Mkondo Wesi's party. And I was amongst those that said that let us go and contest elections as separate political parties. We'll contest each other on the ground, but we'll come back to talk about what do we do moving forward. So the attempt for unification is not just an opportunistic one because there were electoral declines of the EFF and all of those things. It's a genuine political discussion, which all South Africans must enter into, those who are in favor of the revolution. Because revolution is the content of what we're standing for. It's not just, no, if it's me, you are betraying me. You know, some people will say, you are betraying me. Where does that enter? And you don't even once suggest that I'm betraying the revolution. I will never betray the revolution. Because we're not in the business of trying to please each other's egos here. We're in the business of building a revolutionary movement that is going to emancipate the black majority and Africans in particular, and we're unapologetic about that. That is what we stand for. And President Zuma, when he was inducting all of us yesterday, he says that we might be friends and we might think we're friends, but friendship won't apply here. If you do not do these things right, you're going to be taken care of appropriately. Some people were asking me that what is going to happen because in MKP leadership changes every week and all of those things. What if they change? I said, like, if I'm removed as national organizer, I'm going to be a member. And if I'm removed as a member, I'm going to be a volunteer and put posters even without the approval of the leadership. I'm not here for opportunistic purposes. And that is what we are all about. I think all of us, all the progressive forces, let's unite and build this movement. There is no dictatorship, there is political discussions. In all the times that we have got to interact with President Zuma, he has the patience to have political and ideological discussions to persuade people about how do we move forward. He does not stand to subjectively gain anything out of that. It's not like he's subjectively going to gain anything out of it. He had said that let's unite all the progressive forces so that we can build a solid movement that will take us forward. Otherwise, the other things that are said are not worth responding to. We're going to go to the ground. Let's coexist, all of us, and then let's persuade each other. Let's build the MKP as a party which is going to take over government.
Yes, you heard. So the first big difference, the best major difference is it's a whole new panel. But I don't want to talk about the entire press conference. I just want us to talk about the stark differences between EFF and him, and of course what Floyd spoke about, only Floyd, not the rest of the press conference. Number one, the biggest one is Zuma only spoke at the end and to close. So that's like standard, if you have it like your standard revolutionary party where protocol is paid. When the president speaks, no one else speaks. So that's the stark difference. But and everyone was given an opportunity to speak. Something that happens, but not so often in the EFF. So that's like the major difference, and everyone has a key role. Of course, it's early days and stuff, but let me just talk about Floyd. So let's talk about why he said he chose MK. He spoke about, of course, let me just start it from 2023 October when they started meeting with MK. Before we all knew, that's like a month after. If depending on who you believe, a month after what Ukuma Lomashobani says, they spoke and they agreed on forming MK Party in September. By October, they already sat down with Msholuz and they agreed. So he says he's one of those who said, let's not merge now. Let's merge after the elections, and then after the election, that's where we can talk. I'm worried about something. Particularly, I'm worried by the fact that I don't know if those are some of the meetings that Juju alleged to have formed. And I disagree with a lot of things Floyd spoke about. But I think what is important from what Floyd spoke about is, and I don't want to mix issues, is Floyd says he did not betray anyone. Him going to MK Party, it's not betrayal of anyone, especially because he did not even betray the revolution. And if you think about it, I said the same thing about ANC. I hammered the ANC a lot on the fact that you do not own the struggle. People choose their way of struggle. The struggle does not belong to anyone. What Floyd could be saying is he could be saying, I'm reading between the lines, of course. He could be saying, Malema somewhat owned the EFF, and this is why when he leaves, he thinks he's been betrayed by Floyd instead of betraying the revolution. He says, Floyd, this is not about personalities. This is not about personalities. Let me go to the next point. Okay, I'm still on the point of why he joined. So the reason why he joined, he said, amongst other things, like that include the fact that it's a bigger political party, but I want that to pack it at the end, because this is why I disagree with Floyd. The Dr. Lopez, the Gamas, the Brand Molefes, people who have proven leadership record in governing and taking care of big institutions called the PIC and those other companies that I'm deliberately not wanting to mention. Those who know me, they will understand why. But he proves what I've been saying, and I've been attacked a lot by even EFF people. I told EFF people that to position Ndlozi against Panyaza is actually clutching at straws. I mean, Ndlozi has no proven track record of running institutions and big budgets and executing them too. It's fine if he goes there with a party umbrella, but him as an individual taking on Panyaza, it's far-fetched. He wasn't going to win Panyaza toe-to-toe. So I'm just giving you an example of something I said before the elections, and Floyd is actually saying it, that he went to MK because of those people there at MK. They've got proven track records. And, of course, he's substituting EFF to say, none of us, if you look at it, none of us in the EFF have ran big institutions successfully. So it's one of the big points that I agree with Floyd on that one. State capture, of course, it ties up to this one. He says those big guys who were accused of state capture, they could not have been state capture because the same problems that those people found and they are still there. Those problems they called about state capture, they're still there. And if they were not the same, if they had not got left, why are the problems still there when they have left? Number two is these guys at state, when they were accused of state capture, is because they were controlling resources that Monopoly Capital wanted, and they were frustrated because they could not reach them because these guys were owning. So there's the collective fleet of your Brian Molefe, Gama, and Montana, of course, at Brasa. So Smalanyana parties is exactly what I just said. I disagree with Floyd on that, because in the October 2023 meeting that he had with Msholozi, one of the things that he spoke about, he said, let us go, all of us, to go and contest elections. All of us, let us go and contest elections. We agree generally, but we are going to contest elections against each other on the ground. When we come back, we'll speak after elections. He could be throwing a lot of things to our attention. He could be saying, maybe the EFF renegated from certain positions they agreed on. He could be also saying that the bigger party would swallow everyone, of which I do not have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is a 10-year-old party should be swallowed by a new party. So let me give you an example. Malema formed EFF 10 years before Msholozi. So if Msholozi does not mind all these things that Floyd spoke about ego, it's not about your ego, it's not about, why didn't Msholozi go to EFF himself and join and work with Malema? Because if it's a case, I don't think Malema would have, well, I'm preempting things here. I don't think Malema would have said no if he wants to bring all the support, because it just proves to you that had they brought all the support they had, they could have went further together than separating. This is just my thinking. If they had joined, because I'm thinking now, if someone says, come, let's meet, come into my party, why don't you want to come? Why didn't Zuma thought it's important for him to go and join the party that belongs to Julius Malema? If you remember, immediately after the elections, I actually said, number one, why don't all these three big political parties say they are suspending their political parties? None of their political parties are going to contest elections. They're going to form a party. They're going to agree who's the president, whether they toss whatever it is. They just say, example party one, they go to elections. Once that example party one gets all these numbers, then it means this thing is working. And then they just work. But I just spoke to Professor Sipho Siepe yesterday, and I deliberately asked him about this question. I said, the parties that we support as African people, the 66%, it's ANC, MK, and EFF, all three spear parties. They told us they want things, and we realized those things are all the same. Why are they not uniting? He said, whoever pays the piper selects the tune. Ki jukebox did. So the jukebox is talking about white monopoly capital. They hold their coins inside this jukebox, and they dictate what is the playlist of the song. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. These guys do not want to admit that they are actually not in charge of their own struggle, but they would not tell us. And this is why I'm generally disappointed in all of them. And in this particular point, that's why I'm saying I'm disappointed in Floyd Chibamu, because he's disingenuous on this matter. Because if indeed it's not a case of egos and everything, why do you form a party to call other people to come and join? Why don't you just go and join the political party? And people who support you, you rally them behind and support that, just to show that it's not an ego. Now, whoever is going to open a party, they're going to call, why do you open a party? Because Umke is already there. I hope you understand where I'm going. I'm for them to unite, but I'm saying, if you open MK party and say people must come and join, why didn't you join them? Because you found them there. Why did EFF open a political party if there's AZAPO, there is PAC? Why did Andy Limqitama open Blackland First if there were other Pan-Africanist parties? Why did UAT open a political party if they all agree? Why is ATM in existence? Why don't these people just collapse the whole thing? Why don't Makgasule collapse? Why don't UAT, all of them collapse? You say, guys, we've got our numbers. 2026, we are going there as one number. The reason it doesn't happen, and the reason it won't happen, is what Professor Siposiepe has said, and I've said it along in this podcast. They do not do it because they do not own this narrative. The struggle is sponsored, and the struggle is too difficult for them because they do not chart their own path, but they present to us as if they do. And this is me. I'm accusing all three of them to say they are egotistic and they are disingenuous in their type of struggle that they tell us, because all of them are telling us this way. Why can't they just unite? EFF has once said to ANC, if you want to change the land, here's my vote, let's do it. These guys can join each other to vote out Mkhwebane, they can vote out Khope. But when they are supposed to vote for us to get the land, they don't. But anyway, let me see the last one. Well, in short, Floyd said he's not going to respond to other allegations. They are not worth his time. There, ladies and gentlemen, he's substituting Julius Malema to say none of the other things that he spoke about are worth responding to. But he did hit back. I hope you listened. Mashani Political Incorrect, let's talk. Tell me what is it that you think about Floyd's first media statement as the national organizer. Tell me what you feel. It wasn't actually his, and like in the EFF, but it was a joint one where he's not the main character in that thing. He just came to the podium and spoke and he left. But tell us what you feel about it, and does it augur well for the two parties who are the biggest in the progressive caucus in parliament? How is it going to pan out? Thank you. Let's talk. Please advise each other. How does it make you feel? Thank you.